Sorry. Good morning. I'm not even trying to peacock. Like, there's literally just like background music. I have a long day ahead of me. Exciting one, but I gotta make this quick. So this is gonna be a very straightforward message. This is honestly for every Savior DE I know, including myself, but like every single one I know. I'm realizing when people tell you not to give a fuck, you actually have to not give a fuck, like good or bad, right? And you have to trust your own decision-making process, even if it's faulty at first, because otherwise you're gonna keep being a slave to other people, right? Which is hard, right? That's super scary, right? I think with everyone, Savior DE, myself included, there's this feeling, this obligation that we have to be helpful somehow, we have to give back somehow, we can't be selfish, right? And making decisions on our own feels selfish, right? It sometimes is abrasive, it's wrong, right? You know, it's selfish sometimes. And there's a lot of shame that comes with that. And you know, there is a lot of, quite admittedly, there's a lot of tribe hate or, you know, resentment that people are gonna have towards you because of that. That's inevitable, right? If you start doing your things your own way, especially if you don't explain it on the front end, then people are gonna get mad and it's a fuck off, right? But what I'm like, it's really, how do I word it? Savior DE, the issue with it is that it's so desperate to stay connected with other people that it's like you constantly feel, I don't know. For me, it's like trapped in my own body is the way I guess I would describe it, right? It's like I'm trapped in this conversation that I don't want to be in, but I have to because I have to help this person. I'm trapped in this job, like for my case, I'm trapped in this job that I don't really want to do and that I actually feel like I would do better in writing, for example, but I have to be here because, you know, whatever, insert whatever bullshit. And then socially, it's like, okay, I can't really say what I want to say, or I can't really do what I want to do because, you know, it's inappropriate, or it looks bad, or blah blah blah, right? DE, and here's the thing, DE, I'm not pretending that DE is not good. DE is necessary. I think DE is absolutely critical to how we are able to function, like as a society, as a human species. Like, you can't be selfish all the time. Like, things are collaborations, right? If you're completely selfish all the time, right, then it's like, you know, you just basically take what you want and you say fuck you to everyone else. It's like, I mean, yeah, that's like how conflicts start, right? That's how wars start, basically. Whereas, you know, I live in America, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but it's like I live in a society where it's like you have to have some sort of win-win negotiation. It's like, okay, if I get something, you get something in return, right? You pay me or something like that. So, and then on top of that, it's like we benefit each other. So it's like, okay, if you sell me like food, I can, you know, if you sell me food, I can then use that food to, like, whatever. I'm like demon sensor, so it's like my analogy shit immediately. But I will say that I do believe that you need to have DE in order to stay alive, right? It's like you can't do anything by yourself completely. But especially for Savior DEs, and I'm preaching to myself, and not just my current self, but my past self, like the past 3 years. It's a miserable life to feel as though your calling is trapped inside you. It sucks, right? It's miserable. It led me to be super suicidal for a long period of time. This feeling of, I really feel like I should do this, I should create this, I should say this to this person, I should say fuck you to that person, and have all of that stuff bottled up, right? But it's just bottled up. It's like, I can't say that. And then it poisons you, right? It poisoned me. I'm working on getting that stuff out of my system slowly, but it's poisonous to keep all that in. And then on top of that, like, just from the social judgment standpoint, so I usually make fun of a lot of deciders in my life. It's like, oh, decider problems are fake, which I think is true ultimately, right? I say that more as like a teaching tool, secret, but experientially, decider issues are like, yeah, they're painful as fuck, right? It's like, for people to come at you and, you know, call you names and say fuck you, I hate you, and you're trash, and da 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 da, you know, I get super, like, I'm very sensitive to that. Like, I have, like, apparently a hard exterior, but I'm super sensitive to that. Like, in sales especially, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's like, not everyone likes when you're calling them at like 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, interrupting them so that you can get a meeting. Like, I've had people curse me out on the phone multiple times a day sometimes, right? It's like I would go home like dejected, right? Like, I don't know if I would cry necessarily, but it's like my soul was crushed during those days when I would come home from work, right? And then on top of that, it's like then I would jump on, I'm super socially obsessed. So it's like I would jump on Discord and then experience the same thing because I'm way too crazy. I would go on Facebook and then experience the same thing. It's really too crazy. So it's like by the end of one day, that's like one day for me. Just think about all of that accumulated social pain in one day where they're like, fuck you, you can't do what you want, or fuck you, you're not allowed to do this. It's like, and then imagine like multiple years of that building up. It's for me, I think that is partially what contributed to like how like suicidal and angry, quite frankly, I was, and I think still am to some degree. Shit sucks, right? It just sucks. And so for me, it's like I think I'm finally embracing or surrendering to the place of people will hate you regardless. I've Infodom preached that to a lot of people before, but I think I'm finally just like done. I'm like, okay, whether I say or do the right thing or not, like people are gonna judge me. If I try and do the perfect thing, people are gonna hate me. If I do the wrong thing, people are gonna hate me. If I'm indecisive, people are gonna hate me. And then it's like there's pain either way. And I'm like, well, fuck, right? So it's like at that point, I think, and sorry, I think for me too, what I'm surrendering to is, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think DI is selfish inherently. I think DI is about following like your purpose, your calling. It's something more like that at least in my experience, like with it. I don't think it's not rage for me, for example. I think a lot of people think I'm angry just to be angry. It's like, no, I'm doing it to like, to be honest, like I'm trying to just get as much out of my system as possible so that in a year from now, I'm not super angry and just butthurt all the time, right? And that's gonna annoy a lot of people in the moment. But like my call is like I feel called to do that, right? For example. And I think, I don't have TI, but I would imagine that, for people with demon TI is the same thing. It's like they feel called to do something a certain way, or they feel called to speak their truth or something like that, right? And I think what I'm surrendering to is, dude, if I'm gonna get pain and torture like from people in life anyway, I might as well follow that calling, right? It's like I might as well do it. Like if I'm going to be like, so I think I'm not Christian, but I grew up so Christian. It's like baked into my memory. It's like if I'm gonna be crucified anyway, it's like I might as well try and do the right thing, right? Even if everyone hates me for it, it's like I might as well just try, right? And so that's just kind of where I'm at. And I think with Savior DE's like, if you're listening to this, man, like I would just tell you, just like people just suck. There's no winning with people. There just is not, right? It's you, especially if you're a decider. And look, and I'm gonna say this on the record, I'm a petty and judgmental motherfucker myself, right? I'm probably judged a bunch of people on here. I've probably been hypocritical. I've probably gossiped about one friend to the other. I've done all that, right? I'm a snake. I will confess that. I think that's human to some degree, but like I'm also a snake. But I think for deciders, it's like they get spooked by that even more than I do. I think it's painful for everyone, but they get spooked by that. But I would say, especially for like, EJs, like I'm like very protective of EJs, like as much as I like bitch at them. It's like, you just literally just give up. Like just not necessarily give up in the sense of not caring about people. It's just give up trying to do things their way. Like just do the thing your way. And like let people hate you for it, because they hate you anyway. They're talking shit about you anyway. Just do it your way, right? So for example, it's like EJ friends in my life. I mean, I talk shit about like probably a lot of them, right? But it's like there are EJs in my life where it's like it's funny because it's like I feel like I'm doing my calling by blasting and doing selfish me stories more. But what makes me sad is that they'll just assume that just because I'm doing that for myself, I'm expecting them to do my way. I guess it's weird, right? Because it sounds like I want them to do it my way, but it's like I'm just doing that for me, right? And what makes me sad is that then they get like they experience the pain that I experience whenever I get judged. And like what I'm secretly looking for is what I'm secretly looking for from all DE people, especially EJs, is I'm waiting for the fuck you. It's like, tell me to my face, Reggie, fuck you, I hate you, like, I'm doing this my way, and you can rot in hell. And I'm like, oh, okay, great, now we can have a conversation. Like, now we can start talking, right? Well, I mean, unless they single decide and hate me, I mean, I'm okay with that, But, yeah, EJs, blasters, Savior plays, like, it doesn't matter, like, people suck. like, I'm a double decider. I think you need people in your life. Like, even if they're imperfect, you have to have love for each other. But just because you love someone doesn't mean, like, just because you love someone doesn't mean that that gives you an excuse to abandon what you're called to do, is how I would describe it, right? You can do both, right? You can love someone and love them your way, right? It's not a contradiction. And so that's basically it. I know I'm a chaotic, well, I don't know, like, I'm a super chaotic dude. I think everyone knows that. But just from an emotional standpoint, because I do feel called for this, I really, really, like, I'm like waiting for like an uprising of DE people. Like, honestly, it's like I'm waiting for like a collective fuck you, and like, let's just do our thing. And it's gonna be like super awkward for like 2 years, because, you know, when you first do DI, it's just awkward for everyone. But like, I'm waiting for the moment in like 2 years, if you know, this happens to even like 5 relevant people in the community. It's like, if you just start doing your thing in 2 years, you'll be surprised at how many people you inspire and how many people you actually help, right? And I'm looking forward to that. So that's my little blaster, whatever. I have a lot of stuff. A lot of exciting stuff coming my way, I suppose. I'll talk about that if it works out well. I think I might have a writing job in the works, which I'm really happy about. So I'll keep you guys posted. And then, you know, if you guys are still, you know, there's drama all the time, but if there's any constructive comments, feel free to leave a comment, right? But other than that, hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in the next video that I make. Take care.